Hello.
Afternoon, everybody. Afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Eyes at Mother Brown, which in a split decision we've decided to broadcast this afternoon. I think one or two mods are boycotting the tournament, which entirely is their decision to make. One or two others are also saying, well, we're there, we may as well watch it. And this is the opening game in England's group, England against Iran, where England would be, it's fair to say, would be red-hot favourites. But knowing the way these things tend to go, if there's more than 2 goals in this, I'll be very, very surprised indeed. Having said that, from the off, it's been England pretty much all the way. Today, Gareth Southgate has gone with Saka, the Arsenal lad, ahead of Phil Foden. I think that's possibly more to do with needing Foden fresh for Friday night, where I think a slightly more serious challenge could await England. But at the minute, it's all been England. The ball's barely been out of the Iranians' half. Huge problems with supporters getting into the ground in Qatar today. The e-ticketing system seemed to fail quite badly. Again, it's just another one to add to the long list of problems at this World Cup. Trippier taking the throw. Back to Stones, exit square, cross to shore, and it's all very comfortable for England. It's a bit of a training ground exercise, really, at the minute. Let's see what they can do to try and move the ball forward. Rice there, receiving, distributing. Rice looks to be very disciplined in the holding role. Unfortunately, he's got this nasty habit these days of just standing there with his arms held out. I'm not sure that's the message you want to be giving your teammates after 6 minutes gone, but there you go. Off we go. The stadium itself, there's no truth in the room that's actually been named after the adult film actress. But go figure that one out for yourselves. Look it up on Google if you want to. England now with a free kick, 10 yards inside Iran's half. Kane with a dangerous looking ball, and England really should have made more of that. That was a very good opportunity for England, no doubt about it. Iranian keeper's taking a bit of a clatter there with one of his own defenders. This is all very Crystal Palace-ish, if you ask me. Yeah, I think Rice, could have been a bit more positive there, that free kick. If he'd really attacked that ball, he seemed to hesitate a little bit when the keeper was heading towards him. Sorry, Deck, but you've got to go in where it hurts there, son. I think you could have got on the end of that if you'd gone full tilt. Still, it's an easy game from your sofa, isn't it? Yeah, arguably a good chance that from England. It's nice to see a well-worked free kick, a simple ball down the side. Harry Kane pulled wide to receive it, put in an inch-perfect cross, in my opinion, and someone really should have got on the end of that. The Iranian keeper's in all sorts of bother here, mind you. I'm not sure he's made of the right stuff, because I don't think he got clattered that much, truth be told. Little bit of claret there, to be fair. And again, not too sure on the protocols. You've got 2 members of the medical team, they're neither wearing gloves, and the claret all over the place. Not sure that's the right procedure, if I'm being honest with you. Peach of a cross, though, from Harry Kane, an absolute peach of a cross. To be fair to the keeper, I think he just got a glove on it, and in doing so, yeah, looks like he just knocked it. Just knocked it sufficiently. I think Raheem Sterling was coming in at the far stick and would have buried that otherwise. I think, let's give the goalkeeper a bit more credit there. I think, I think let's give the goalkeeper a bit more credit. And we just wait for him just to recover, and up we go. Plenty of England supporters in the stadium now, those you'd expect. Say what you like, England supporters, they travel in numbers and they always get the tickets. 1 or 2 Iranians there as well, which is nice to see. Obviously, they've got some issues domestically at the minute, but we wish them well with that. This is now quite a lengthy stoppage. This allowed a good 4 minutes, I would think, to the first half. Gareth Southgate now having a quick chat with Declan Rice. Yeah, probably commenting like the yogurt adverts need knocking on the head, because they really are very poor indeed. The yogurt's not too bad, but and now he's having a word with Harry Kane. So interesting. They're clearly the two main men in this England setup. And here we see the site now of what I can only imagine is replacement keeper, but he's not wearing a keeper's jumper. So why is he warming up? Don't understand this. Pitch, it has to be said, looks absolutely immaculate. Got a bird's eye view of it now from a very interesting camera angle. And the Iranian keeper seems to be in all sorts of bother here. It's not looking good. Oh, he's sitting up right now. Let's see. But surely under the concussion protocols, if they feel he's been clapped in the head, he can't be allowed to continue, surely. This doesn't feel right. I can report the street is now filling up with cars outside where I live, which means the pub at the end of the road is getting nicely busy. So if your builder hasn't turned up this afternoon, if you can't get a plumber, if you can't get an electrician, they're all in the pub. Don't bother phoning them. Their mobiles are off and you're just wasting your time. Sit there, relax, turn the water off at the mains, and they'll be round tomorrow to fix it. And here we see now the replacement Iranian keeper ready to come on. That's a real shame, because the starting keeper, bless him, amidst all the drama and all the hoo-ha and the controversy about this being in Qatar and so forth, for many of these players, this is the biggest moment of their professional lives. And if you've got to be replaced after probably only no more than 4 or 5 minutes of action, that'll be a huge disappointment to Iran's number one. Very, very disappointing for him indeed. So he's trying to hang on in there. He's desperately trying to do it. They've brought him a replacement jersey, but heavens above, either he's fit to continue. This has now been an 8-minute stoppage. This is quite a lengthy stoppage. Off comes the jersey. So it looks like he's going to carry on. He's going to give it a go. So whatever we do, England, get the ball in the box, get the ball above his head, and get Maguire and Stones and Rice and Kane in on him. Yeah, now is the moment. They do have a replacement keeper ready to go. So what's the decision going to be here? 14 minutes gone. And they've wiped all the blood off him. Oh, fair play. He's going to try and carry on, but frankly, there's no love lost in international sport. I'm afraid. If he does carry on, England have absolutely got to exploit the opportunity. Do not let him off the hook with this. I mean, to take a shot on goal, try and work a set piece, exploit him, because he does look groggy to me. And I don't know, somebody like, Trippier or even Declan Rice just hammer the ball from 20 yards and you might get lucky, because this guy is all over the place. Yeah, he's going to carry on. goal kick to Iran. So here we are now. We're 15 minutes gone. So that'll give you an idea of how long this has gone on for. Okay, none of this modern nonsense with centre-backs hanging around inside the penalty box to receive a short pass. Iran are going to clear their lines, kick the ball upfield, and the replacement keeper's now putting his bib back on. And I think it was only a matter of time before you come on, because I'll be amazed if their number one choice lasts much longer between the sticks. England tearing away down the left flank now. Yeah, all under good control at the minute. Ball now played back to Rice, who plays it back to, can't really see here, Harry Maguire. How could I mistake him? Poor ball from Maguire. And it's a throw into England. Left-hand side of the field, midway through the Iranian half. Shaw comes up to take the throw in. Looking very fit. And the Iranian keeper goes down again. Yeah, sorry, mate, you've had your World Cup. Yeah, we need to look at this guy now. Ref goes up. And yeah, the keeper has signalled to the bench. He needs to go off. Yeah, and Iran's manager there, bowing to the inevitable. And I'm afraid what we might see here now is a replacement of perhaps considerably lesser ability, but we'll see. Iranian players now asking for a stretcher to carry him off. I'm afraid, come on, there's 17 minutes gone now and we've barely seen any football. The ball can't have been in play for more than 5 or 6 minutes in this. You know, if there's a winner in this, it'll be those poor England supporters stuck outside the ground trying to get in. So at least they'll get to see some of the game.
Afternoon.
Gordon, good afternoon. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. A little bit better than the Iranian goalkeeper, I wager.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit harsh on him earlier, but I don't know if you've seen the replay, but when the ball came in,
It was a hell of a collision.
Yeah, I actually thought he just got a glove on it, just sufficient to put off Raheem Sterling coming at the far stick. I actually thought Declan could have come in a lot more physically. Maybe I'm giving Declan a disservice here. Maybe Dec's looking at that thinking, if I go in and clatter him, I could get a red card for that. So he's shown to be, I think he sort of pulled back a little bit, did Declan, maybe mindful of not wanting to get a booking or worse so early in the game. So, but a great opportunity for England it was. I think now when they're bringing on their reserve keeper, I mean, hopefully this guy will be, I don't know who he is, Hosseini, don't know where he plays.
In goal. Sorry, couldn't resist.
Yes, I realised that was coming as soon as I said it, Gordon. Thank you.
They were just saying that this is his first competitive game. He's had one friendly match so far at international level. It's let's be honest, you and I aren't exactly entirely up to date with the Middle Eastern football scene in terms of Iran, but the game actually so far I think is going pretty much as everybody was saying, that they've got they're very defensive minded, and the word patience has been bandied around a lot. And first sort of 3 or 4 minutes were characterised by lots of possession for England in and around the back four and midfield without looking like being able to sort of penetrate the various lines. just before the goalkeeping injury, there were a couple of moves where we sort of spent a few minutes sort of sizing them out, and then we're beginning to look like we could actually, penetrate those various lines. But obviously, for the last 10 minutes or so, there's not an awful lot happened because of the keeper, who quite rightly now has gone off. You can understand him not wanting to go off. It's a World Cup. It's your first game of the World Cup, and it's a pinnacle of any player's career, really. So you can understand him wanting to stay on as much as possible. But really, I think that's a decision that would have been taken out of his hands right from the start of that incident. And I think common sense prevailed in his own head in the end when he'd taken the goal kick and instantly realised he was probably not at the races. But that really shouldn't have been his call to make. Now, Iran have got a free kick in the on the their left hand side in interesting territory. So let's see what happens now.
Very much so, and I think it's worth remembering Iran are actually, I think, the 20th ranked team in the world, which I'm not sure how far ahead of Scotland that puts them, but
about 300, isn't it? Yeah.
About 300, you reckon? I think that probably rings true. Thus far, England have defended the free kick well, in possession now. Well worked, but a defensive work there from Saka. Makes sure he gets the throw in and gives England an opportunity to clear their lines. I mean, I have to say, it's a full stadium. The supporters appear to have got over the ticketing problem, and they're all in now, which is nice to see. And again, moving away from all the politics and all the stuff that goes along with this and the corruption, for the players, this is the highlight of their career. Harry Maguire, who would have thought it? Can't get a game at Manchester United. Here he is, leading the defence for England in a World Cup. Talk about players owing managers. Maguire owes Southgate big time. I think this one
very much, yeah.
When you think back to different eras when there was huge competition for places in the England team for that position, when the likes of the great Alvin Martin could only pick up 30 odd caps in his career, Maguire, I think, is perhaps fortunate to be playing in the era he is.
Promising move from England again. One touch passing, a cross is blocked out, but this is how you break down teams like Iran. You play shot, you play quick balls in between the lines. That was a nice 1-2 that was played down the line. Didn't get anything out of it. Cross was blocked, but that's the way that so West Ham need to learn. That's the way you do things. You in amongst all the possession, the sort of quick fire passing. You have a bit more urgency about it, and that's how you break down defences. I see we've got a boss.
I'll be with you in a sec, chaps. Just doing a few technical bits. You're doing a great job. Keep going.
I think it was running across a pitch at Italia 90. I think there's a documentary on it the other night, something like that. Iran will be no mugs here. They're well coached. They've invested in competent coaching, and this will be a team that would very much, I think, have their eyes on maybe finishing in second place in this group. They'll look at the likes of Wales and think maybe they can get something. They'll look at the United States and think they'll get something. So if they, by some chance, took a point out of today's game, it would be a great result for Iran. And Luke Shaw there, he's had a bit of a clatter there, but he'll get over it.
That's Hagada Batch, something like that, who played for Brighton. Just came in after Shaw had played the ball off, and it's a bit patchy. Lots of little niggly fouls going in. The one from the guy whose name I nearly was able to pronounce there, the former Brighton guy. after the ball, stamp on top of his foot. Deserved yellow card.
It's called the Everton method. If you recall how Everton used to rotate the fouls when Bobby Brown was their manager, I think we can expect to see a lot of that this afternoon from Iran. But why wouldn't you? It's tournament football. They've got one mission, and it's to stay in the tournament as long as they can.
Referees making a point of making it very clear he's taking no nonsense. Let's put it that way. When there's a free kick, he goes sprinting towards the location, and if anyone sort of raises their arm in protest, they get told in no uncertain terms. So apparently he's issued 9 red cards in his last 10 games. So it just sounds like he's not one to mess with.
Yeah, I think you need to be very careful there, in terms of mentioning Iran and protest in the same sentence. We'll be accused of going more political and all the rest of it on that. And but joking aside, their players will be conscious of what's going on in their domestic situation at the minute, and that can't have helped their build-up for this competition. So,
their supporters actually booed their own national anthem, didn't they, when it was played just before kickoff? Well, which is a new one on me. I mean, I was obviously outside Liverpool because they're
indeed, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll just move swiftly past that, I think.
Yeah. Now we're on the attack again, and we'll breaks down, but we've got the ball back. Saka's played the ball in, but it's straight down the goalkeeper's throat. Almost the standing ovation there for the goalkeeper. It's been played far too sort of straight for him. Just come straight in and pounced on the ball, and got the sort of applause one normally reserves for Oscar winners, or just as the envelope's opened rather than for a routine save.
Well, I mean, perhaps Iran now are down to their equivalent of David Martin in goal against Chelsea, and maybe it's his moment to step up and shine as David Martin did for us.
Perhaps. Although they're not exactly, again, something I picked up before the game here, and I wouldn't like people to think I've been sitting down doing research for this, but I think it's a 26. The squad's are 26 men deep for most teams, but Iran have only brought along 25, and 4 of those are goalkeepers. So they're not exactly short in the goalkeeping slot. So maybe we've got another 2 before we get to Martin.
All I'll say is, don't ever tell me you're busy ever again in your life, because if you've had time to research the composition of the Iran squad,
I've literally picked that up over the first, just before kickoff and 5-10 minutes in this game. So all credit where it's due to the BBC. I'll put my hand up where I've done the research, but really, until 10 minutes ago, I couldn't have told you anything about them. And in fact, I've now told you everything I know about them. So.
Yes.
Nice here, isn't it?
But again, that is one of the joys of the World Cup, and it's why, despite all the corruption and the nonsense we get from FIFA and all the circus that goes around it, great chance for England there, and again, Mason Mount, you're there, you get your shot away, you've got to hit the target there, mate. You really have got to hit the target. But as I say now, for all the nonsense surrounding it, it's what still makes the World Cup a great competition, because when else would we ever get to see these players? And when else would they get a chance to show their stuff on the world stage? So it's a concept worth keeping with, I think.
Is that the closest we've come to scoring yet, chaps? Having not seen the opening 20 minutes.
Pretty much, yeah. You probably gathered, because we were talking about Iranian goalkeepers, that the number 1 choice basically got involved in a rather nasty little collision with his own player.
Yeah, I heard Pinky commentating on it while I was otherwise.
Yeah, well, but that would have been a good chance. The keeper just got a finger to the cross, which took it away. Was that Sterling coming in on it?
Yeah, it was. Sterling was coming with the far stick,
and it flicked it out to Maguire, was in at the far post and just basically put it out. But that shot there, probably the two closest chances until this one.
Go on.
Well, it's a bit of I would say scramble, but it's not very pretty in the Iranian penalty area at the moment as Sterling forces a corner. So
what do we what are your thoughts on the kit, chaps? It's got shades of the 82 kit, isn't it? Was that the one with the red and the blue stripe across the neck?
Yeah, I didn't like that one, funny enough. I don't particularly like this. England's shirt should be pretty much as white as possible.
Yeah.
Funny enough, nobody else seems to have liked it. I didn't mind the one before it, which was pretty much plain white with red and blue stripes down the sleeves. I quite like that one, but after that, I'm not been particularly keen on England kits.
I think if you just had a Sensodyne logo across the front of it, they'd do a great job of advertising their toothpaste. It
does look like a toothpaste tube, doesn't it? Yeah.
So
anyway, corner England.
Other brands are available.
Oh! Who's that, Maguire?
Number 6.
Yeah, Maguire.
Oh, slabbing. So close. So close.
Well, we were just saying he owes Gareth Southgate big, and maybe that was the moment to repay him. But he's the keeper would argue that the sticks are all part of their defence. So, it's a great effort. It's a coat of paint away. It really is.
That's
close. If the Qataris had hired the really cheap builders rather than just the cheap builders, aka the slave labourers, then that would have been an England goal. But the builders had enough money left in the budget to put the extra coat of paint on it, and it's still 0-0.
Yep, close, getting closer. But what are your thoughts, chaps, about Maguire being included? I mean, A in the squad and B in the team today. Any objections to that?
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying earlier, that I think he's fortunate to be playing in an era where the competition for that position has probably never been as thin, certainly in recent England vintages.
Yeah.
I think the manager has shown great loyalty to him. I mean, huge loyalty to him, because if you can't get a game for your club side, it really is saying something. And in particular, when that club side is a Manchester United team that is far from them at their absolute peak. Yeah. But, at the end of the day, Gareth Southgate would argue his job is to pick the England team, and Maguire generally will pop up with a goal every now and again.
Yeah.
But I think that whole back line, if I'm looking at it, if you say, where's the weak point of this England team? It's the back line, isn't it, if we're being honest?
Yeah, I think you're dead right, actually, Pinky. It's going back as long as I can remember watching England. The strength has always been that back four. And it's been, hang on, breaking on the left, cross comes in. There it is.
Bellingham.
Yeah.
It was coming.
He's different gravy, all right. There he goes. It's coming. Did you get that one on the Bellingham? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a blast from the past.
No,
I think it's too early for these. It's only lunchtime. We're not used to these early kickoffs over here. Nice goal though, eh? Great finish.
Yeah. I mean, what worried me about this game was all the pre-match talk about the Iranians being sort of ultra defensive, and the first 5 minutes, it looked like we were not going to be in a good position to sort of break them down. But we've shown that we've sort of sussed them out a bit, really, and we now look sort of capable of taking them apart. I think that might. I mean, we're saying they're no mugs, but I might have suggest that might be the first of several.
Great finish, though. Great finish.
Oh, it's a great finish, and you know, you'd be saying that if you're an Iranian supporter, you know, who's tracked him, who's followed him into the box,
yeah,
and just left that to the defence to deal with. Having said that, I'd still be backing a decent centre back when that ball came in, attack the ball and clear it. So I think they've kind of made a couple of errors there, but a well-worked goal by England, no doubt about it. And let's just see now if England keep the pressure on, because, you know,
going again here.
Go on.
Just too much on it.
Too much on it from Harry Kane. Mount couldn't get on the end of it, and but you know, peaceful ball in from Shaw for the goal. Bellingham rises like a salmon. I mean, he's you know, up he goes, bang, knew exactly where he was putting it as well. It is a great finish by Bellingham, no doubt about it.
Stunning. Couple of comments from the guys on the stream. Not too many with us today for the first one. Maybe we'll have to publicise it a bit more before the next game. But G Wong says, I'm boycotting the World Cup for watching Eyes Up Mother Brown. Does this still count? What do we reckon, chaps?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the opening 10 minutes or 15 minutes when I was on my Todd, I'd like to think that, you know, I wasn't commenting so much as giving a Marlon Brando-esque soliloquy from Apocalypse Now. It was that kind of thing.
Pinky could have been a contender.
Indeed, yes. Instead of a bartender.
One for the kids there as well.
Peanut butter sandwich ads, come on England. I took the day off work just to watch the match. I ordered German doner kebab through Uber Eats. Must be a Turkish link in there somewhere.
Well, you know, again, day off work, you know, you've chosen the wrong profession, because I can assure you, the street where I live has got 30 different builders' vans in it at this point in time. There's a pub at the end of the road. Yeah. So, you know, do not expect them to come round and finish your kitchen extension today. It ain't happening.
Well, I'm working from home today, but my office. No, genuinely, because my office, had I been in the office today, had given permission to watch the game, as long as we make up the time. So I'm doing nothing that I wouldn't be doing in the office, so you know, I just like a plug to my employers, MHA McIntyre Hudson, who are very enlightened with this sort of thing. So there.
So we now know at least that you don't work for a Scottish firm, all of whom will have banned their staff, I'm sure, from watching this, particularly as England have taken a relatively early lead in the game. But England's all England at the minute. You know, again, Bellingham there, who just heads the corner post quite bizarrely. I don't know what that's all about. But the ball is deep in Iran's half. They've got to throw now to try and clear their lines to see what they can do from it. Yeah, they are struggling. Their heads are dropping a little bit. This is nice to see. Got to say, the stadium itself, just looking at it there, we've got a good sort of shot of it. A truly remarkable number of England banners and flags and what have you there. I've no idea how many of our support will be out there, but it is not insubstantial. It's a very significant number indeed. And fair play to the ones that have travelled.
Yeah, also nice to see a full stadium after what we witnessed on the opening day yesterday. When
listening to it in the car on the way back, I was away for the weekend and I was on the last leg of the journey home, and they said it was probably about a third full at the end. I'd say, not having seen it, I couldn't comment, but it was nice. Pat Nevin was doing the co-commentary on BBC 5 Live, and I think he really sort of went full whack on the sort of sarcasticometer. You know, he said, you know, yeah, the Ecuadorians are over there, they're staying obviously, but he said the only other people left, the renter crowd. So,
Well, maybe they just thought there was going to be a lot of stop go signs on the way back into the local station, and they thought they were getting out early. I mean, we're in a bit of a glass house on that one ourselves, aren't we? With the way the London Stadium clears out these days.
So that was one of those funny bloke behind me moments on the last game against Leicester, when people were filing out just not long before they got the second goal, and he was having a rant at people that left early. He said, okay, there'll be one or two who've got might have to go because of trains or things like that, but stream out early. What about supporting your team? What about supporting your team? And then Leicester got the second, and he tapped me on the shoulder. He says, the problem with rants like that is that once it's happened, it means I can't go now.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
I must admit, I will admit that when the brass band played Bubbles, just thinking about my old dad, I was in floods when they did that, because it was a very old version that we had played at his funeral earlier on this year. So when that came up, I must admit, I kind of, I think I was claiming contact lens failure. Well, I tell you what, guys, got a lot of possession here. Not an awful lot happening with it at the moment. But what's the first World Cup you remember in any detail then?
Well, this is where your memory can play tricks, because in truth, I think it was the '74 World Cup, if I'm being honest. But there was a magnificent film made of the 1970 World Cup, which had done the rounds. So I think my memories of the '70 World Cup were based around sitting in a cinema somewhere overseas. Yeah. But I think the 1974 World Cup, and it was all, of course, Germany and Holland back then, and that was quite a tournament. Quite a tournament.
For me, it was the following one. It was '78, the ticker tape final and all that. Harry Hahn, that incredible goal that we were talking about on the KUMB forum yesterday. That shot from 35 yards that didn't ever get more than 4 feet off the ground, but was still gaining speed as it hit the back of the net. It was almost physics defying shot. That sort of stood out, and of course that was the. Just wait a second, because England got a corner. Slab head on the end. It's a Saka. Saka, the Arsenal boy. Well done, son.
Yeah,
lovely little finish again. Another decent goal.
Corner came out, only part clear to the edge of the box, sat up nicely for Saka. Would have been very, very easy to balloon that over. Now there's about 9 Iranians surrounding the ref at the moment to complain about something or other. Well, they're all around him at the moment. Let's have a look, see if we can see anything in there. Well, they're complaining, I think, about Maguire getting above the ball and heading it. There's nothing in that. That's not a foul.
No.
That's nothing wrong with that at all.
That's a great finish. That's a really, really good finish. And also off the other side of the bar. He's had to get over that and obviously take a little bit off, off the power. It's taken a bit of a deflection, isn't it? I think as well.
Well,
like on that replay.
As I suggested earlier on, I think that we're going to see a few here. This is going to be, I think, comfortable now.
Which of course, for England, we were talking about past World Cups, known, but how many times have we seen England falter in the opening game? I think was it '82 when we beat France 3-1? Brian Robson scored after about 15 seconds. I think it was the last time I can remember England looking really comfortable in an opening game.
That passed my driving test. That was.
Was it really? Showing your age there, mate. Showing your age.
Yeah, well, 21. That was a good year for me that year. But I'm trying to think of sort of opening. Yeah, memory plays tricks, and I can't remember every tournament. I mean, we're talking about past World Cups. I think I remember '66, and I remember sort of all the fuss and everything, and Dad, bless him, actually got to the final. and I was annoyed that I couldn't go. He wouldn't let me take him with me. But the first one I ever sort of sat down and really watched and got into all the football, the matches and everything, was the following one, the 1970 one.
Yeah.
The one that we're on the attack now.
Go on.
Kane gets a
Fabulous. Sterling.
Is he off?
Yeah.
Is he offside? Is he?
Yeah.
Has he flagged him, has he?
He looked off to me initially, but what's the score with VAR here, chaps? It's obviously
There is VAR. It has
in
been
play.
used already, actually, today.
Good, Deckers.
There was a penalty appeal that. Let's have a look now.
Let's just see what's going on
We're
here.
good there. We're good there. He's good there. Hold up. Still good.
No, it's on.
He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah,
Great
fine.
goal.
Nothing with that. No, there was a penalty shot earlier on where Maguire ended up on the floor. Stones also got bundled off the ball. The Maguire one, he had his arm round the defender as much as that.
Great.
So I think that was 6 of 1. But no, like I said earlier on, I think once we got the first, I think we've got them sussed nicely now. And this is going to be feet up time, I think, really.
Yeah.
Very much so. And you've got to say Harry Kane there. You know, that's the second or third ball he's delivered into the box in exactly the right space and place for an oncoming play. He knows exactly where someone coming on goal would want it, and you can't overstate his importance to this England team. We'll put aside any club rivalries for now. He's an absolutely top draw footballer, Harry Kane, and he set that up for Raheem Sterling. I'd back myself to score from there. That was a brilliant ball in.
It's the good old corridor of uncertainty once again, isn't it?
Yeah.
That we frequently bang on about.
Yeah.
Brilliant cross, brilliant move by England, great goal. Hang on, we might have a fourth one here.
Well, there's plenty of stoppage time for the goalkeeper. There's 14 minutes.
14 is that a record? 14 minutes. Wow, that's unbelievable.
He was down for a long while. It took a long while to sort out, and then when he got up, there was another stoppage when he finally went off. So we could go in 4 or 5 up before the interval. Sterling. Oh, that would be a corner. Iranians claim that's not a corner when basically it's the single most obvious corner you're ever going to see. So we're 3 minutes and 3 and a bit minutes into the 14 of stoppage time. Rack up as many as you can in the first half, and it's not out there. Don't take too much out of yourself for the more important games to come.
Yeah. Just briefly going back to the 70s, as we were all talking about there, the World Cups. You remember the great thing about those tournaments? Well, hang on, England are in the box again, looking for a fourth.
Yeah.
Still danger not clear. Well, it is now. The great thing about those tournaments was that we knew so little about foreign football, even European football. It was kind of fantastical in a way, and even players from Italy and Germany, we never saw them. Even in domestic football, there were so few until the likes of Muren and who's the other guy at Ipswich and
Tyson.
That's it, and Villa at Spurs, Ardelius, players like that. We just did not have. I mean, of course, in '78, as I say, my first World Cup that I really remember. But it was only 3 years after West Ham became the last team to win the FA Cup with an all-English team, and so that's how few and far between, foreign players. I mean, we'd had one at that time, didn't we? The Israeli guy. Noam, you'll remember his name, who didn't play.
He didn't actually sign for us full time. We were the rules, the FA rules at that point, prevented us from having to change. We tried to sign the chap who played for Israel in the aforementioned 1970 World Cup.
Yeah.
Mordecai Spiegler, his name was. He was a useful, really classy midfield player.
Yeah.
And Ron Greenwood, sort of admired the hell out of him. And he may have played for us in a couple of pre-season friendlies.
He did, yeah.
I remember having this chat with John Hellier years ago, and asking him, did he actually turn out? And he said, yeah, there are a couple of pre-season friendlies. And we had, I can't remember which Israeli team he was on the books of, but we'd agreed that if we could actually sort out the paperwork this end, we would definitely sign him. But the FA put the kibosh on it. It was, you were not permitted to sign players that were outside, that were non-UK or Republic of Ireland. There were a couple of odd exceptions. I remember Newcastle had a Danish guy called Ben Arentoft in the late 60s. But they were very much, quite why he got through the rules, I don't know. But Spiegler was definitely out of.
It sounds like a character. Sounds like a character that could have been in an episode of Lovejoy. Let's be honest,
Yeah.
Mordecai Spiegler.
We could sign people from. Yeah, we were allowed. You were allowed Commonwealth. I think there were certain rules that said you were at Commonwealth, which is why we got Clyde Best, for example.
Yeah.
That was all right, but pretty much everyone else was out of bounds. The thing when I mean, it was a big surprise when Tottenham signed our dealers in Villa, because my first thought was, well, surely they ain't allowed to. The rules don't allow them, but there had been a change. So it had gone through quietly, and obviously Tottenham took big advantage of it. Once that happened, everybody looked at the Argentinian team, and the Argentinian economy back then, I don't know what it's like now, but the economy wasn't very good there. So, sort of Argentinian clubs were going to take relatively small amounts of money for decent players. Birmingham City went and signed Tarantini, wasn't it?
That's right. Who was the Brazilian guy that Newcastle signed in the 80s?
Mirandina was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember Tarantini sort of came over, and of course he was Argentinian football back then. I know it's like now again, but back then, whenever you saw it, it could be pretty brutal. Tarantini came over and started playing exactly in the same way that he played over there, and I think he got sent off about 4 or 5 times in his first 10 games, and he didn't last very long if they ended up sort of flogging him back in the days before transfer windows.
Very few and far between in those days, weren't they? I mean, of course, we had Bert Troutman, FA Cup winner, famously playing for Man City, wasn't it? He ended up at and playing with a broken neck.
There's a good film about. I've heard great things about the film that's about him called The Keeper. It was on.
It's brilliant.
A few weeks ago on BBC One, quite late at night, and I've got it on the Sky Plus to go and watch. But I've read good things about it because
it's top class. It's based on the book, his biography, and it's fantastic. If you do get the chance to see it, I advise you do. It's well worth a watch. But
that must have been tough.
Oh,
playing in the country you were at war with. A couple of years previously, the articles I've read about at the time, you can only imagine what sort of abuse he got, possibly from his own supporters. Never mind anybody else.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to be very careful here, chaps, because we're a heartbeat away from ignoring the number one rule of football signings. The number one rule is the golden rule, which you must never break. Do not sign a player on the back of a good World Cup.
Are you thinking of anyone in
Gary
particular,
Green.
Pinky, by perchance? Does
You
his
know,
name
no
rhyme
names,
with
no Pac
Barry
Girl,
Sheen?
but you know, there are certain things in life. Oh, a mistake by Declan Rice there, just let the ball go over his head. But other than that, I have to say, with regards how
Got one
Rice,
over. Oh,
Oh,
and there we have it. The holding midfielder makes one single error, and Iran are able to get in behind us. So for those who don't like the fact that Declan is playing this very disciplined role today, that's why he has to play the disciplined role. You need somebody doing it. And he made one mistake there. Iran were in behind us. Other than that, he's been absolutely imperious in his role as the holding midfielder today, playing the role with magnificent discipline. It's exactly what I wish he'd do for West Ham United.
yeah.
I'd just say that having seen the replay of that, I think that VAR got its mitts on it. Might have been disallowed. The ball out to the player on the left. The player on the left looked offside as that was played. So I think VAR might have got involved there. But yeah, timely reminder, just need to sort of be sensible. England now sort of really just trying to play the clock out. I think we've still got what?
3 minutes.
Got,
what,
3 minutes. About 3 minutes left to stoppage, you know. So yeah, we talked about those World Cups. I remember that we talked about the Mexico one, and I remember that film, Pinky, that you're talking about, because it sort of they had a little kid was kind of the protagonist going around all the games, didn't they?
Yes.
And I just remember him at the end, just after the final, and everybody's cheering on the Brazilians and all that. And I think his dad finally catches up with him, and he said, "Oh, Dad, how far is it to Munich?" Because obviously the next one in 4 years' time. So, but yeah, but yeah, I remember my dad letting me stay up late because a lot of the games are on at 11 at night, which for a 9-year-old is a bit on the late side. But remember being in tears at the Germans beating us, and I had recent, well, not that recent, maybe a couple of years ago, they reran that game we lost to Brazil 1-0 in its entirety.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a cracky game of football, but it was, I mean, with all the fantastic football the Brazilians played, they could dish it out at times. I remember Francis Lee getting kicked all over the shop for about 15 minutes because he'd come in late on the goalkeeper. And for about 15 minutes, it was just open season on Francis Lee. And after about 15 minutes, the story goes, legend has it, that Pele just sort of turned around and said, right, he's had his punishment, that's enough. And that was it.
Yeah, but I guess, you know, again, even in that era, if you're used to playing in competitions against the Argentina of that era, late 60s, early 70s, if you weren't capable of both withstanding a physical punishment and giving some back, you weren't winning anything because, you know, for all the skill in the world, when someone clatters into you, it tends to dampen your enthusiasm to do too many flicks and tricks. But poor touch there by, who was that?
Was it Mount?
Shaw again. So poor touch by him. Stones up, Maguire on the ball. Again, you know, some of the England passing is a little bit sloppy, truth be told. You know, just calm it down, England. Hang on to the ball and just drain the life out of Iran. And the halftime whistle has
whistle, yeah.
Yeah.
Good half for England. That it's to say they've done precisely what they needed to do against the team playing like this. It was to suss them out, work out quickly how they could be broken down, then go ahead and do it. The goal on, was it 35 minutes, was the opening goal. Excellent time to score because from that point, the Iranians really sort of their plan B was to get everyone behind. Their plan A was to get everyone behind the ball. I think plan B was to carry on doing it, and it's been excellent. Yeah.
Yep, no complaints about that. As we were saying, it's been a long time since England have gone into a World Cup tournament and completely controlled the opening game. I was just having to think, actually. We mentioned, I mentioned 82 against France when we won 3-1. I think 86 was the year Mexico when we needed to beat Poland, didn't we, in that final game to qualify? I can't even remember who we played. Any ideas, chaps, in the opening game? It was someone poor, like Egypt or someone like that. And I think we drew. 1990 was it Ireland?
Which was the one where? I might be getting my tournaments mixed up.
Yeah.
Did we play Morocco in one game where Ray Wilkins got sent off?
Rings a bell.
Could that be 82? Was that maybe 86? It would have to be one of the two, wouldn't it? The 90 was Ireland, wasn't it? I think we played the first game and we're relying on a decent result in the last one to get through. Or have I got that the wrong way around? But anyway, 94, of course, we didn't qualify. And yeah. USA, wasn't it? 2010, Rob Green, another one.
Yeah.
Which we will never forget for not particularly positive reasons, but we're just seeing reruns of the goals again anyway. When Noam's doing his research, first goal, decent cross, decent area. Jude Bellingham. What is he? 18 years old, Bellingham, or is he
19? I believe
19 now, is he?
Yeah.
Incredibly accomplished player, Pinky, for his age, isn't he?
Oh, I think more than that. I mean, look at his upper body physique. He is, he's a fully developed adult.
Yeah.
He's strong. I mean, if he's 19, yeah, well, he's going to go for big money next time he moves. Yeah. He's going for big money. That surprises me. He looks about 22, 23.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I'm hoping they show the injury to the keeper again, because I want to have another look at Declan Rice running in on it and just get you two guys' opinion on it. I was very harsh on Declan, in real time. So I hope they show it again. I mean, that's a beautiful finish from Saka.
Yeah, amazing, superb. Beautifully picked out. Yeah, I've not seen it yet, Pinky. That incident you're referring to. So it'd be interesting to have a look if they do repeat it on the TV.
Yeah,
again,
the 1986 World Cup. Let's have a look again. Yeah, 1986 World Cup. We lost 1-0 in the first game to Portugal, then drew 0-0 with Morocco. That was the game in which I think Wilkins got sent off. For the when they throw a ball at a ball boy or something like that. So something daft, wasn't it? It was.
Lots of people chuck balls at ball boys. There's nothing wrong with that.
Thinking, yeah, that's rather too close to home. That one, is it, for comfort?
Let's see if I can get the details after the individual game.
Oh, that's that goal. That third guy. It's a superb delivery. Is that Kane? With the assist there.
Yeah,
it is, isn't it? Yeah, I mean that. He's not even looking up. If you look at that, he knows instinctively where the run's coming from. He doesn't even have to look up. His head's down. He's looking at the ball. He's put it into the old corridor of uncertainty there, and Sterling's on it rapidly. And I actually think you felt that was quite an easy finish. I'm not so sure. I think it's not come at an easy height, that one. It's sort of knee high, isn't it? So I think he's done really well to sort of.
It's only because you never saw me in my prime. I mean, that's the long and the short of it.
No, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, there aren't any easy finishes at this level because, however easy it looks on telly, try doing it with 60,000 people watching in real time and a defender all over you. Yeah,
absolutely.
And look at all that shocking scenes there.
There's your Plumbers and Chippies.
I was going to say that's Charlie's bar down the end of the road. That is right now.
No, it's good. We just saw, for those of you that aren't watching it, if there is anyone who hasn't got the game on TV, there's a lovely shot of school kids. And I know my Harry has been given an extended lunch break at Bannervalum this afternoon, where the entire school will break to watch the game. It's nice to see that. I don't recall ever that happening when I was at school, and I don't know if it's because the World Cups that we watched. I don't know about you two guys. I don't know if it was because the World Cups we watched didn't kind of clash with school time, or we probably wouldn't have been at school, would we? Actually thinking about it, because it would have been at the end of June, right? So we would have been in recess, as it were.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I can actually confess to the nastiest, snidiest thing I ever did in the workplace was the England were playing Argentina in a World Cup game, and it was an evening kick-off, and the night shift would be in doing their graft, earning their corner. I knew that they'd all want to watch the England game. The head office had said, no, we're not switching off for it. So during the course of the day, I had the technical team disconnect the aerial from the telly in the training room within the factory, which was the only part of the building where you'd have a telly. And of course, I stayed till 10 minutes before kickoff. I could see all the lads on the shop floor going, will this bugger never go? Will he never clear off? And as I leave the plant, I can hear all the machines powering down and the sprint of the lads into the training room to watch the game. But the telly didn't work, lads. I was ahead of you there. And, a bit mean-spirited, but I can report I drove home on empty roads and I made kick off in the nick of time. So at least I enjoyed the
game. We've just seen the incident you were talking about, Pinky, the goalkeeper as well in the back. I was just watching that while you were telling us about your incredible meanness there. It looks like he took a one square on the nose from a defender by the looks of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bit of clarity, what have you. But it's actually Declan Rice I want people to look at in terms of.
I don't think it was close. Yeah, I don't think you look at when you see it from behind. He probably wasn't close enough to the ball to make him any meaningful sort of challenge. It was. I'm just sort of flicking it backwards and forwards now, and no, that there's no way Declan's going to get anywhere near that, I'm afraid. So yeah, a bit harsh.
Humble apology to Mr. D Rice there. Humble apology. I think
I have some updates on it. Yeah, we've got finger on the pulse. Latest news about the 1986 World Cup. But just harking back, the first game we lost to Portugal 1-0. Second game was we basically just before half time. Brian Robson, the other one, not Pop, got taken off with his shoulder, his perennial shoulder injury, causing him an issue. And then the Ray Wilkins, who'd taken over the captain's armband, got sent off because he threw the ball at a referee in protest at an offside decision. I'm getting two incidents mixed up there, because there was famously Ray Wilkins once swore at a ball boy who was being a bit slow in giving him the ball back, which was picked up on ITV commentary mics, sorry, the effects mics rather. So.
No, can I just add and give him his credit here? Glenn Marshall on the live chat posted a few minutes ago to say that did he throw it at the ref in reference to Wilkins? Yeah. So we had our answer there. Thank you, Glenn. We're just giving you props for the answer there.
Yeah,
but we didn't get a chance to mention it. So thank you.
So yeah, that left us with basically 1 point from the first two games, and we're in a bit of a pickle there, actually. So as it happened, then I don't know, Portugal, who beat us in the first game. I don't think they were quite the team they are now back then, but
When is this known?
They
This
went
is
on.
86, is it?
Yeah, she's 86. So Portugal went on to lose to Poland, and then lost 3-1 to Morocco in the final game. Yeah, we beat Poland 3-0 in the final game of the group. So Morocco topped the group. We were second in the group with a goal difference of +2, 3 points, the goal difference +2. Those 3 goals were useful because that took Poland to -2. So we were level on points, but beating Poland was enough to get us through.
Yeah, I recall that game very well because we were on a family holiday at the time on Tenerife or somewhere like that, and we were actually mid-air over the Bay of Biscay or somewhere like that on the way home when the pilot announced that Gary Lineker had scored a hat-trick, and the plane erupted, went wild to confirm that we'd managed to qualify for the knockout stages. And if I remember rightly, the next game in that tournament we played, it was a South American country. It could well have been, it was either Paraguay or Ecuador, because I was
Paraguay.
Paraguay, was it Paraguay? We won 3-0, and I remember this because we were at a big country concert when the game was being played, and unfortunately Stuart Adamson, God rest his soul, is no longer with us, the lead singer, being of course a Scot, had to announce rather grumpily that England had won 3-0, and the Cliffs Pavilion in Southend went equally wild. So yeah, a memorable tournament, that one. And then of course it was Argentina, wasn't it, in the quarterfinals, and all that nonsense that we'll never forget.
Yeah. So talking of Scots announcing football results, the famous game where we got beaten by Germany with Chris Waddle's penalties still in orbit. I turned up to the gig late because I've been watching the football, but I went to see Fish playing at Aylesbury, who took great delight at reminding everybody that England had just gone out. And so I did have a chat with him after that gig, actually, and sort of asked him how he felt. He was saying, "Oh, well, you're out." I said, "Yeah, well, at least we didn't lose to Costa Rica." So,
oh gosh, yeah. They've,
let me tell you, yeah, the aforementioned Fish, he phoned up the guy that I happened to stand next to at away games one day.
Yeah,
because it pinged a note to Fish's management complaining about something or another. I don't know, it was a ticketing arrangement or something had gone wrong at a gig or something. And the man himself actually took the trouble to pick up the phone and gave him a call. And just to say, sorry, it didn't work out and blah, blah, blah. You don't get that from too many chart toppers, it must be said. So I'd put Fish down as an all-round good egg.
Good lad.
Yeah,
good
he had his moments, which I won't go into, but particularly the early days, because I'm one of the people who were going around watching the very early versions of Brilliant play places smaller than my living room. But the very early days, yeah, they did look after fans. Remember Pete, the bass player, giving us a load of money for drinks. We're at Jersey Airport. We got to see him because on the way out there, all their gear had got impounded, and they needed all hands on deck, sort of thing, to get the stuff over and into the venue in time for the gig. So we all sort of gave a helping hand. So we're sitting around Jersey Airport, and Pete comes over. You've got enough money to get home and everything, yeah? And so he goes, gave us 50 quid. He goes, yeah, have a few beers. So
nice. We looks like we're back on the pitch, and there's a substitution. Three substitutions, is that for the Iranians?
Looks that way.
Iranians.
Yeah, and again, I think that's good management because he's giving all of his players a taste of the World Cup, and some of these players he might need for later matches. So get them in early. I don't think it's a tactical thing per se. I think it'll be a case of this game's gone, so let's be thinking about the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, no arguments there. No, gents, we did the your first World Cup. What about your favourite World Cup?
Ooh. I should count 66 because, but I wasn't invested in as much of the football. I was more caught up with the sort of the general atmosphere rather than actually getting into the various games. I'm going to go 1970. It was World Cups kind of as they ought to be, not 28 million teams taking part, and yeah, that Brazil side were just breathtaking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that weren't a bad. That was everybody says it, and they're probably not wrong. That the England side, sorry, Pickford nearly gives the ball away. The England side that went to the 1970 World Cup were arguably a better side than the one that won it, and I think that's a fair comment.
Yeah, often said, isn't it, that they were hot favourites to win that one. Pinky, what about you?
74. I thought the Dutch in that competition were quite magnificent. Yeah, and you know, I mean, for me, that's my first sighting of Cruyff, and you could see then, you know, he could play a bit, and you know, it kind of sticks in your memory, you know, when you're a kid. Now, when we are spoilt rotten with, you know, you look at the caliber of footballers we watch week in, week out now in the Premier League, and we take it for granted. We take it for granted these days, you know. But there was a time when, you know, we could only have dreamt of some of the players that we get to see now, and just say, well, you know, I've paid the 30 quid at the gate, and oh look, you know, I'm looking at David Silva this afternoon, or whoever it may be. So, you know, Kevin De Bruyne,
Yeah.
you know, which Manchester City can go to, or indeed a Declan Rice for ourselves. But you know, there was a time when you'd barely see much quality on the field at all, and certainly, you know, international stars, the only place you'd see them was every 4 years, or if you're lucky, an English team had got to a European Cup final, and you'd be watching the opposition players who might have one or two decent lads. So 74 for me. I thought the Dutch were magnificent, and I just think, you know, there's something quite romantic about the Dutch side and the way they implode continually and fight amongst themselves. But they had a program on last night just showing, you know, the 50 greatest goals of the World Cup, and I think about a quarter of them came from Dutch players.
Wow. Where was that on? What was that on? Terrestrial TV?
Terrestrial TV last night, yeah. And
right.
You know, my personal favourite was the Van Persie
diving.
diving
Yes.
goal. Just an astonishing goal. An astonishing goal.
Just to get back to the game here, Kane's just gone a jinking run, just basically taken out there. Yeah, the perpetrator there, he's actually clutching his ankle. It may have landed awkward as a result of that challenge. Free kick just on the edge of the box. Physios are on, not missing anything at the moment. Physios are on to have a look at Kane. It's a good run. Just got his foot, just tapped the ball away just before the Iranian chap arrived. As I say, just having another look now at it. Taking a bit of the ball, but caught him afterwards.
Yeah, I thought he took the ball. I've got to say, when I saw it at full speed, I thought he'd got the ball first. But I think it's one of those challenges, isn't it, where you're coming through the back. The referee's always going to give it against you.
Yeah. So Kane's up anyway. I don't think it'll be too much longer on this. And but yeah. So I disappeared. Why do I keep disappearing? I've got to be at the right angle.
I've also got to single out Gareth Southgate here for some special praise, because he's clearly following the KUMB central heating thread very careful at this point, because he's sitting there, he's in Qatar, he's in the desert, and he has got a jumper and a jacket on. So Gareth Southgate, I salute you. You clearly haven't turned the gas heating on while you're in Qatar. You're a hell of a guy.
I'm guessing that there may be some pretty hefty air conditioning going on, and he might actually need it.
Yeah. What do we reckon on this? Who's taking this? Is it? That's an interesting.
Tricky,
The way we've got two players, a mini wall in front of their wall is quite unique. We haven't got the tried and tested player on the floor for Iran.
the draft excluder. Trippier goes straight into the wall with a free kick and tries to keep the ball live. We've got it back, but a bit disappointing that.
I'm not sure they were 10 yards away there on that wall. It looked like they were about 7 or 8 yards to me, but anyway.
Well, we've still got the ball live, and that's
that was a snidey little challenge. That was.
The referee's seen it and has just told him to get up, but that looked that looked like a horrible, nasty little foul. I mean, it's
right, Declan, do your stuff, son. We want a nice reducer coming on. Doesn't matter who it is, anyone on the Iranian team.
Trippier's been caught right in his toe, and he's the referee's saying you're right. He said, "Well, you saw what happened." Oh, he's just stamped on his foot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's right. It's one of them snidey little Sunday League challenges when the referee's looking the other way. Absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
I'll have to take your word for that, Graham.
Who are we looking to as our enforcer out there? Who's going to come in with the reducer now on the Iranian player, just to say, do you know what? If that's what you want to do, we can all do that.
Oh, look at this lad.
I'd like to see an England player now come in with a really physical challenge on, doesn't matter who, any of the Iranians, and just say, cut that nonsense out.
Yeah, we haven't really got one of those type of enforcer style players out there. Have we? A David Batty or someone like that who would leave a foot in.
Kane's often done that sort of challenge, but largely accidentally. It's been a number of times you think that should have been a red for Kane, and it's the old Paul Scholes thing. Oh, that's a Scholes challenge, he can't tackle, ha ha ha. But there comes a time when when somebody does that sort of thing far too often, when you say, well, how long is it before he is that sort of player? Anyway, goal kick to England. Nothing much happening at the moment. Graham, I think we were on favourite World Cups.
Yeah, favourites. I'm going to buck the trend here, chaps, actually. And I know you've both gone for your first World Cups. And it's definitely, I mean, as I said earlier, mine was Argentina. And I absolutely soaked it up as a football-loving kid. And I think that might have been the first World Cup where every game was broadcast live on TV, possibly. But I'm kind of quite sadly proud of the fact that since that, I've not missed part of any single game live. I might not have seen everyone fully live for 90 minutes, but I've seen a part of every single game in every World Cup since. Hang on, England are through here. Oh, it's a good chance. Yes, it's 78.
The bottom line, but couldn't square it back. We got a corner out of it though.
But my favourite has got to be, it's got to be Italia 90. The whole romance of that tournament, everything about it, the fact that, Des Lynam on the BBC, Pavarotti, Nessun Dorma, semi-final, penalties, Roger Milla, Argentina getting beaten by Cameroon in the everything about it, and the summer. Let's just have a look at this corner first of all. Oh, sort of half cleared by the keeper, not very convincing punch, but
Deck's got it back.
Got it back. Come on, Deckers, put it in. Another corner. And I mean, 1990. It was my favourite summer. I was 21. Obviously, for those of us of a certain age, the music at that time was amazing. That summer was full of raves and that sort of thing. And we had the greatest, in my opinion, World Cup song of all time as well in New Order's "World in Motion." Everything about it was just fantastic. I had just moved into my own place the year before, and there were 6 of us living in a flat. It's kind of a communal, almost hippie-esque type thing going on. So everything about that was perfect. It was pitched at the perfect time. And of course, you couldn't have asked for anything more English, could you really, than reaching the semi-finals and, going out in such a blaze of glory in effect. So you touched on Waddle, Stuart Pearce also banging the penalties over the bar. Well, we've just seen a looping cross coming from the left, but the keeper's got that. I mean, it was just incredible. I remember after the Cameroonian game, To this day, I've never seen anything like it. The whole town was living in Benfleet at the time, and the whole town congregated at Tarpots. For those of you who know Benfleet, know it's quite a busy junction there. And there were so many people out on the streets that night that the police had to close the entire A13 because it was just thousands of people.
Oh, what a
Here we
touch
go.
by Kane. Sorry, Graham, but I've got to
Go on.
Oh.
Through.
You know, just the simplest of touches by Harry Kane put Sterling through in acres of space. I mean, heavens above. Yeah. Oh, what a glorious touch.
Yeah.
Shame Sterling couldn't make anything of it in the end, but
Here we go again.
yeah, lovely touch.
Beautiful.
Lovely touch. Yeah, I mean, we've got a corner out of it, but it deserved a bit more than that, I think.
Anyway, take us back to Benfleet. Yeah?
So, well, let's just stick with the corner for a second, and then I'll tell you the story of that night. But England looking for a fourth here. Shaw being told to put the ball in the quarter circle. Here it comes, delivered. Headed up, headed out. And a free kick given to Iran. So anyway, so picture the scene. Everyone had flocked to Tarpots. The scene was just full of people, completely blocking the A13. And then coming from the London direction, a bus full of pensioners who'd been to, I don't know, they'd been on a booze run or whatever, or somewhere, maybe Calais for the day. And they pulled up at Tarpots, and you could see these poor old dears were absolutely petrified. They thought there was a full-scale riot going on. And anyway, the bus driver pulled up, and a few of the local lads and lasses who were perhaps a little bit worse for wear went over to the bus and got on the bus. And anyway, they helped all the old dears off of the bus, again, still utterly petrified, until they realised that it wasn't a riot. It was just an enormous celebration of England reaching their first semi-final since 1966, I think it was, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah.
And in the end, there was the old dears were dancing in the streets with the kids and that just come out of the pubs. It was a surreal, unbelievable scene. The police didn't know what to do. In the end, they just gave up and let people celebrate. And then, of course, stark contrast a few days later, I've never seen so many grown men cry to this day as I did in the pub that night when Chris Waddle and Stuart Pearce ballooned their penalties over the bar, which saw us go out. But yeah, so some great memories there. But for me, 1990 was just an unbelievable World Cup. And I know Sick Note, our former moderator, was out there that year, and he says it was just an incredible tournament to be part of. And yeah, fantastic. Yeah, but you always remember them, don't you? You always remember where you were at moments like that. You know, they say about Kennedy and things like that. But when England lose a semi-final, you can always remember what pub you were in, who you were enjoying it with, things like that. You know, strange.
Yeah, I've got to pick you up on one sort of factual inaccuracy there, though. When you've expressed it as an opinion, but I can't let it go. You know, I'm sorry, but World in Motion, yeah, it doesn't hold a candle to Back Home. I mean, seriously.
It must be a thing, an era thing.
Back Home, the first single I ever bought.
Oh, they'll be watching and waiting while we are far away, or something like that.
The B-side was something called Cinnamon Stick, and when you listen to it, I mean, nowadays they'd have auto-tune or something on there. They're not even trying to pretend these guys can sing. It was dreadful, but
clearly, it inspired the Stone Roses to write their little ditty, whatever it was, years later, wasn't it? So,
Was you saying, Willis?
I
You're
just
not
remember
the Stone Roses, Pinky, are you?
5 good songs. I keep telling everyone that's all that they did. Yeah, them and Blur made a career out of half a dozen good songs each.
Well, listen. I mean, you're talking about the Stone Roses, actually, and of course, their eponymous well, the debut album came out in '89 and was still massive in 1990. So that the whole Manchester thing, of course, was going on as well. The Happy Mondays, the Stone Roses, Spiral Carpets, Northside, all that lot, as well as the whole race. It was an incredible time to be, you know, a muso and young, and it was just wonderful. But talking about the auto tune gnome, it kind of reminds me, and this sort of fits in with what Pinky was saying about World in Motion. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the alternative rap that was voiced by Peter Beardsley rather than John Barnes. Have you ever heard that?
I think 3 or 4 of them had a go, didn't they? And so they picked on the John Barnes one.
Well, do you know what? While we're on this stream, I'm going to try and dig it out because I know it's on YouTube somewhere, and I'll play it for you if possible. Yeah. It's one of the funniest things you'll ever hear is Beardsley trying to hold down the World in Motion rap. But anyway, I'll do that right now.
The 1970 squad had over New Order was the fact that New Order never turned up on Top of the Pops wearing dinner suits and frilly shirts and bow ties. You know, so just saying, yeah. Apparently, there's yet another version of Three Lions doing the rounds.
Yeah, the Christmas version.
Yeah, I haven't heard. Yeah, it's coming home for Christmas or something, but I haven't heard it yet. But I mean, great as it was, particularly at the time in '96, I can't help feeling that particular dead horse is well and truly flogged now. Oh, that's 3. That's a brilliant goal. That's Sterling.
No, it's Saka.
Sorry, Saka. Yeah, sorry. Yep, sorry. Yep, you're right. Sorry. Brilliant goal. He basically got the ball, just feigned to shoot a couple of times, kept feigning, found the gap and just put it away. Woeful defending. Nobody actually thought it prudent to actually perhaps try and close him down, but you know, it started off bad kick from the keeper. Yeah, so this guy's picked up the ball, the edge of the box. Just let's move across, and there's the gap. Caresses it into the net, really, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I've got to say, the rest, you know, if there is VAR, there's a red card incident there that I think they need to be looking at. There's an off the ball elbow.
Yeah,
goes into one of the England lads. That is an absolute nailed on red card. If they have a look at that, that's a disgraceful challenge.
Yeah. What's happening here? I think it's a substitution. So I saw a guy walking off there. I thought, oh, maybe they spotted it. But what do you reckon, guys? I think some prudent substitutions to come.
I'd certainly bring on a player that doesn't matter just to put his boot through an Iranian, because this second half, I'm sorry to say, they have resorted to some very unpleasant, snidey challenges, some physical aspects of the game that you know, you've been beaten, lads. You've been absolutely thrashed. Don't start ruining the tournament for better players than you. And I'm afraid Iran have let themselves down here a bit in this second half with some of their behaviour. And that off the ball incident there, you know, was a heck of a whack. I think it might have been Sterling that took the whack.
After he laid it off, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's like, you know, this isn't on this. So I've been trying to bring someone on just to dish a bit out, frankly.
I would make one slight. Yeah, we've got substitutions coming on now. I'd make one slight disagreement with you. It's not just this half. They would do it. They've been doing it all through the match. You know, even in the first half, the feet were being left in rather niggly. So, but yeah, the general point is valid. Yeah, we had 3. Foden was amongst them. Who many were wondering, you know, whether or not he'd actually start there, but he's having such a good season. But
nice. Oh,
well,
great goal.
Pulled one back.
Great goal.
Great finish. Yeah. England sort of struggling to sort of clear their lines. Pickford's well upset because he's hardly had to touch the ball all game. And it's the guy who plays for Porto, I think, put that one away. Just shit again now. Cross comes in, it's blocked, and then yeah, it's a lovely goal. Actually, it's a lovely ball through from the number 17 there, and
Maguire left standing, I think.
Yeah. It's great for. I think the guy's put it away is the guy who turns out for Porto, doesn't he?
Keeper.
I think you got to credit the Iranian lad
The
there.
pass inside was superb.
Yeah.
You know,
Good pass, good finish. So
yeah.
So a slight blemish, but yeah, we've got 25 minutes left. I'm still not expecting much now. Maguire's he's obviously got a head knock. They're doing the waving the finger in front of him thing. So that's the sort of usual concussion protocol, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that might change the thinking on the substitutions.
Also might explain why the ball inside him, he was left for dead and didn't track his man. So when exactly did he get the clout is the issue, isn't it? Yeah. You know, we were saying earlier that the back line for England is the weaker part of the team. Talk to me about Jordan Pickford. Is he any good?
No.
I was hoping to fill more than half a second, Graham, with that question. You know, that's
sorry, just stoking the fire.
Well, hang on. Can I remind you, this is a family show, and we won't be showing any of that.
Yeah, England will make 4 changes now by the looks of things. I think Dyer's been added to the set list, if you like, the coming on. So I think they'd be wise to get Maguire off here. I mean, don't be unkind, but he doesn't look sort of the most alert of people normally, but he looks less so now, and he's holding his head. And you know, we're 4-1 up, 25 minutes or so by the time they get sorted out. Yeah, I'm not sure a pat on the head from Harry Kane is the wisest of encouragements, but yeah, Maguire's quite sensibly is going off. I mean, whether you agree with him being picked or not, if Southgate thinks you're a number 1 central defender in that role, then you know you'll take him. I think the question, it was taken out of Maguire's hand.
If they've hooked him for a concussion, he won't be able to play Friday, will he?
Yeah, well, yeah, not sure what the protocol is at World Cups, but so we've got Foden, Grealish, Rashford, and the other 3 coming on. Dyer came on for Maguire, and we've got, let's say, Foden, Grealish, and Rashford. Well, Dyer's now coming on. Oh no, they're still not on yet. Iranians playing on, so we're down to 10 at the moment. And Declan there doing what Declan does, just a little foot in, break could play up. But yeah, playing with 10 men for the time being, and bringing back memories of Cascarino and Jackie Charlton having a dig at the ref in USA when they were trying to get substitutions made in ridiculously hot conditions.
When was that? 94, wasn't it, that one?
That'd be 94, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
chance. Woo.
Well, the Iranians have got the bit between the teeth now.
That all came again from a loose pass by, I think, Declan, that was intercepted. And I'm afraid England in the second half have looked a little bit casual, I think, without damning them too much. I mean, it's hard to criticise them when they're 4-1 up, but it's Iran. We've given them a good beating here, but we are giving them chances now, and they're coming from England mistakes.
So, yeah, substitution. Dyer's come on immediately for Maguire, and Sacco's going off. Just get these substitutions right. There was a little Sterling's off as well. So Saka's off, Rashford's on, Sterling's off, Grealish is on, and Mount's the other one coming off, and Rashford on. Yeah, there's a little bit of complaint from the England players there because I think we're trying to make those changes for the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Pickford was having a chat with the referee. The referee sort of also wasn't really lip reading or anything, but the referee's body language was, yeah, okay, I'm sorry, let's get it done now or something like that, rather than, I do it my way. So 20 minutes to go plus stoppage anyway, and it's 4-1. Kane takes the ball nicely, nice long ball nicely, but through here. And
go on, inside. Oh,
that's 5.
Rashford, just come on.
Rashford's been on 2 seconds, and his first couple of touches are to get it out of his feet, and his third one is to put it away. 5-1. So
what a game! What a game! Yeah. Comfortable. England home and dry now. That it looked like the Iranians might be mounting a remarkable comeback briefly, but that's all over now. Going back,
good ball from Kane. Just nicely turned it. Rashford just turned inside the fullback there. And then just again side foots, caresses it in. Excellent goal. And I'd just like to remind you what I said to you about 35 minutes gone, where I said I think this might well be the first of many.
Yeah, nice finish.
Smug mode.
Yes. Couple of comments about the goalkeepers. We Pinky, you asked about Pickford a few moments ago. Connor Green on the live chat says, I'm not a fan of Pickford. He reminds me of when Joe Hart started going off the boil. Looks to want to be flashy rather than just catch the ball. And Glenn Marshall adds, Pickford is better at distribution. All the goalkeepers are of similar talent and no one is outstanding. So, for me, it's Pope all day long, got to say. If it's a choice of the two.
Yeah. Pickford's very sort of he kind of talks a good game. He's very loud and he's in his defender's ears, sort of thing. But that's sometimes you got keepers and when they're shouting at you like that that they're right and they've got their eye on the game and they're telling you what to do. Others you get the impression that they're doing that because that's what keepers are supposed to do. And I always get that sort of kind of impression with Pickford a little bit. He's shouting because he thinks keepers are supposed to shout. So, but I agree. There's not much between them, and although I think Pope didn't have the greatest of games the last time he was out. He gave a goal away against Germany, and that 3-3 draw was down to him, wasn't it?
Looks like Callum Wilson's about to come on. I think we just saw a shot of him on the touchline there.
And Grealish has been fouled, by the way, not for the last time this World Cup. I'd wager.
He does have an extraordinary habit of attracting a foul, doesn't he? Like no one else I think I've ever seen.
In fact, when you look at him, you'd want to kick him, wouldn't you, if you were a player?
Well, I wasn't going to say it, no.
Teddy Sheringham had the same skill. It's a real skill, drawing the foul, and it's why Grealish is picked. It's what I'm convinced is what Guardiola bought him for. Draw the foul, and
see him there with his those tiny shin pads, and you'd think, well, you might as well paint a target on your feet, on your legs. With kick me here.
Yeah,
it's the sort of player we talk with Sunday League football. Sort of player that he'd turn up on a Sunday and his hair's sort of all sort of like extravagantly coiffured with that daft haircut he's got, and he's got the latest fluorescent boots, tiny shin pads, and then he gets some bloke who's probably still half cut from the previous night, just takes one look at him and wallop into touch.
Quick look ahead for those of you on the stream. We are going to look to do some Eyes Up Mother Browns for the other West Ham players who are involved, which means that our next broadcast could be tomorrow, because France, of course, are playing Australia at 7 o'clock in Group D. Alphonse Areola is our interest in that one, although it's fairly unlikely that he's going to be involved from the top, so that might not be the case if, of course, Areola doesn't play. We'll probably be back with you for the Group F type 10. Am I reading this right? 10 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, Morocco versus Croatia.
I'll set the
Definitely
alarm.
won't be around for that one. I
Yeah.
can't see my firm granting everybody time to go and watch that one.
Yeah, 10 o'clock in the morning. Goodness gracious. Shocking stuff.
That'll be broadcasting in the dressing gown job, that will.
And then we've
Thank
got,
heaven for small mercies.
yeah, I mean, that could be a longer stream, that one, because Germany, of course, and Thilo Kehrer are playing at 1 o'clock in Group E. They face Japan. And then, actually, also, I've got a bit of interest in Group E, because this, I don't know if you can see this is who I drew in the in my football club's sweepstake. I've had an absolute shocker there, quite frankly.
Who is it? Sorry, I couldn't see it on the.
Costa Rica. They open up against Spain at 4 o'clock on Wednesday.
I've got them in the family sweepstake. You're in the family draw, so
Did you really?
yeah, they're in Senegal. So call me Mr. Lucky.
I'm waiting to find out who I've got from the work one. So they're getting back to me later with that one when they've done the draw. So, but
Glenn
probably
Marshall
get-
suggests we should have a bench watch tomorrow for Areola. Yeah.
So I just had a laugh while you were talking there, because Grealish got fouled again, although play continued. But it's just like he is. It's like you see him.
He's a
Even the
magnet.
Iranians have just taken one look at him and thought, "Oh, let's use him for kicking practice."
I should also point out, chaps, that this may be the first ever stream we've done where we're all watching the game at exactly the same time.
Same moment, yeah.
So the joys of terrestrial TV and live broadcasts, rather than that's, in case you're wondering, that's why I'm looking over there, because that's where my TV's positioned up there on the wall. So not here
Well,
as usual.
it depends whether or not you're watching it through a traditional aerial
Yes.
or your satellite, doesn't it? Because there'd be a small delay through your satellite.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm on satellite. So here's something I was going to mention earlier. We're talking about old World Cups, and it's something I kind of miss from watching World Cups in telly. I'll come back to that because we've got balls in the box here. Oh, having said that, it's just terrible ball in, and it's just cleared out, although we're maintaining the pressure. But here's something. When we used to watch World Cups from foreign climes, I mean, here I am watching it in satellite. It's in high definition, perfect picture. I've had the volume turned up, we've got surround sound and all that. And I kind of miss the days when you'd watch a football match on the telly from anywhere further than the Isle of Wight, and the pitch would be grainy, and the commentary would come down. It'd be sort of slightly distorted and sound like it was coming down a phone line, because it was. And
I used to go to some specialist cinemas that had that sort of effect, but it wasn't football they were showing at the time. But I know exactly what you mean there, Gordon.
It kind of made it more exotic and special sort of thing. I mean, even like you used to get that sort of thing, even if it was only coming from like France or Germany. The Mexico ones were in bet, because there was always this thought that the satellite might give out at any moment as well. So, I kind of missed that.
I know where you're coming from. It was kind of like the same effect that you got when watching Jeux Sans Frontières. It's exactly the same thing. The international version of It's a Knockout for anyone under about 100. Very, very, very much a thing of its time, wasn't it? That kind of baseless audio that you used to get.
Well, I think the last one that we had that was really a factor was probably Argentina.
Yeah,
I think the world of telecoms has moved on a pace since then. Of course, Argentina. I mean, was that the last World Cup that Scotland featured? And I can't remember. They don't feature that often, but yeah,
They were in 90, weren't they? Didn't you mentioned that they'd been beaten by Costa Rica?
Costa Rica in 1990, they got beaten by.
Was it Peru? Did them in Argentina? Was it
Peru, famously, of course.
Peru, that was the 1974 Argentina one. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Yes, Peru did them, and
I think
they
might have been Costa Rica
Iran or someone.
Oh yeah, because of course it was the final group game of that was the infamous scene from what's the Irving Welsh film? Train Spotting, the Archie Gemmill thing, where Gemmill weaved his way through the Dutch defence and scored one of the greatest World Cup goals of all time. But it was all immaterial by that point because the Scots were all but out.
I think you might be getting your World Cup. Either you or I. Let's have a look. I thought that was a different tournament. Oh, it was 78. Yeah. So
that would have been arguably a career highlight for Archie Gemmill, presumably, wouldn't it?
Yeah, must be. Yeah.
That and giving a nickname to a former Hammer of the Year, of course. With Schemmel.
Yes, Archie, of course. Yeah, I was struggling for a moment there. Yeah, yes. Of course it was. Another one-hit wonder. Well, a bit harsh to say Archie Gemmill was a one-hit wonder. But Forest, wasn't he? Wasn't he part of the Forest team?
Yeah.
And famously left out of the European Cup final, wasn't he, by Clough?
Mm. Was that the Malmo final the following year?
Yeah. And that ruined his relationship with Clough. Full stop.
Of course, the 78 final is when we Ali McLeod, wasn't it? They all thought they were going to win the World Cup with the likes of Dalglish and players of that. Although they were a very strong team, to be fair, the Scots at the time. I mean, half the Liverpool team was Scottish, was it not? At the in the late 70s, and they all thought they were going to win the World Cup, and there they were on top of the pops, all in tartan and all that, singing "We're on the March for Ali's Army." Yeah. And got beat by Peru in the opening game, which was hilarious for all of.
You'd like to think that someone would rerun one of the games and have Paul Pogba in the studio as the pundit, and actually saying, Graham Souness, what does he do?
Yeah. Alan Ruff was in goal, wasn't he? And basically did more to sort of perpetuate the orthodoxy that Scottish goalkeepers leave a lot to be desired, though, I think, than any other keeper in history.
Yeah, that was the era, wasn't it, when they became renowned for particularly poor between the sticks. England in a good position here. Rashford out on the right in the box, still on it. Go on, son. Put it away. Oh.
I think I've got a second or two on you, Graham. I think from what you were saying.
Well have. Yeah, I think, which is odd because I'm on terrestrial.
Yeah,
and you're on satellite.
Rashford's got the bit between his teeth since he came on. Obviously, similar position where he scored, where he was sort of jinking and trying to get the shot in. Although this time there was a little bit too much traffic in front of him, but it's been cleared out for it was a nice little ball in that was very good clearance because we were through if that had been cleared. Shaw's looking sorting out the corner. Here we go. Corner going across. 3 or 4 players jump for it. None of them get it, and it's in fact it's been given as a foul to Iran. So
all those things, those circular things, you can see underneath the stands or what have you. What are they? Are they air conditioning units or are they cannons ready to fire?
Yeah.
I've just got this image of AC/DC turning up and doing a really huge version of "For Those About to Rock."
Yeah.
And every time they do the chorus, one of the cannons gets fired. I mean, it probably is air conditioning, isn't it?
Yeah, there is some sort of cooling stuff in the stadiums, I'm given to believe, but I don't know how it works. Yeah. So what in Qatar then? So for those about to rock, we execute you.
Yes, well, they've added that to the VAR options, haven't they?
Yeah.
VAR decision execution. But I don't know if that's them with a lot next door, isn't it? It's Saudis that go down that route. But
gentlemen, we've not touched on this yet, but we really should before the stream goes off. Of course, there was the news emerged this morning that none of the European teams would be wearing specific armbands, shall we say, following FIFA's decision that anyone doing so would be instantly booked, which is a strange one that I'm not sure is in the laws of the game anyway. But well, what's your view on that? I mean, do you think that? I mean, I want to, Pinky, I'm going to come to you first because I know what your view is, because you started a thread on this in the World Cup forum on KUMB this morning. You felt that Harry Kane should have worn the armband on top of the yellow card.
Absolutely. You know, because there's been plenty of discussion about it beforehand. I think the FA were leaning in that direction anyway, and you can't raise it as an issue, say you're going to do something and then not do it. And that's not a criticism of Harry Kane, by the way, but there comes a point at what point does the FA stand up to FIFA and say, look, we've had enough of your nonsense now.
Yeah.
You know, you've awarded at least 2 World Cups on highly dubious grounds. You know, everyone's gone along with it, because if they don't, then what happens is you'll never get another World Cup in your own country and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point do you say, FIFA, you are a corrupt organisation, we're not going to accept any moral guidance from you whatsoever, and if our captain thinks it's right to wear that armband, well, he should wear it. And, you know, for me, for Kane, you can understand it as a player. He doesn't want to risk missing out at latter stages in the tournament, because this is the pinnacle of his career. Yeah. But the FA should have been stronger there and actually given some guidance and saying, you know what, we're going to do it. And frankly, they should have passed the armband round to all the players and said, we all object to this nonsense that's going on here, because who do they think they're kidding? You know, it's you know, homosexuality is illegal in that country, and they could say these are our laws and that's how it's going to be. But actually, if you're a young footballer now and you're playing Sunday morning football anywhere in this country, you're going to look at that and say, when the moment came, the England captain didn't do it. And I think Harry Kane could have actually made a real statement here today. And I think the FA should have backed him 100%. It's just my view.
No, it's good. It's good. It's an interesting one. I mean, I can understand why Harry Kane didn't, because, you know, if you get booked before the game starts and you're playing a team like this, Noam's already pointed out several times that, you know, we've seen the dark arts come out. Who's to say that, you know, they wouldn't have targeted Kane if he's on a yellow from the start? But I saw a really good point. Mark Webster, I think it was, who I follow on Twitter, made the point that, well, if the players can't do it, why can't Gareth Southgate wear something to that effect? If he gets booked, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. Does a touchline ban come into play? How far away is it? Yeah. If he's not sort of right down the touchline. Yeah. Physios.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm sure. I mean, I will admit I haven't read through the full sort of rule list. Oh, now then, we could be on for a 6th here.
That's great stuff. Go on, lay across.
There we go, Grealish. Grealish with a tap in. Great, lovely through ball. Yeah, just pulled into the box. Grealish just taps in. And that's pretty much good night Vienna, isn't it? It's a lovely little flick there.
It's a great goal.
Oh, yeah, he's onside, I think. Yeah, look at the number 2 this side. He puts on the grass there. So yeah.
And
good goal, great goal.
Alan Wilson there, because do you know what, the temptation, you know, here he
First
is.
World Cup to try and just take it on the other foot.
Yeah.
Try and put it past people.
He's done absolutely the right thing here.
Yeah.
He's set up his teammate, and well done. Well done.
I don't know if you noticed also the amount of ground that Phil Foden made up there to get in support, like an express train. He's rapid.
But I mean, Grealish is celebrating in front of me there, and I want to kick him. He's just doing his hair down, his little dance. You think, yeah, all right. But
we touched on it earlier about enforcers and all the rest of it. The little bit of steel, the little bit of, how can I put this? The annoying one, the one that winds the opposition up. And I think good teams have that kind of player in their setup. You can't quite get enough on him to put him out of the game, but he's going to irritate you for every minute he's on the pitch. I like that.
They call that the Robbie Savage, don't they? I would imagine.
You want that on yours. You hate that when it's an opponent, but you love him when he's yours.
Yeah,
exactly right.
Yeah.
Lee Bowyer maybe would have been one of ours, I suppose, wouldn't he? Good example of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, good shout. It's a good shout. Well, we've got 10 minutes added on again here. I mean, this is, where's that come from?
I suppose we took a while for Harry Maguire to get sorted out. Lots of substitutions. Physio's been on a few times, hasn't he? So,
So that's 24 minutes of additional play.
We've almost had an extra half here.
That's got to be some sort of record, hasn't it?
Hang on. I've just seen it. Yeah, they've announced one on the FIFA website. Apparently, the absolute rule of Qatar is enjoying the game, and he says, I wouldn't mind a bit another 10 minutes of this. So it's just been organised for him.
Yeah, unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that before. I wonder if that'll be, a pattern going forward that they're going to look to maximise.
So before England so rudely interrupted us with a goal, we were talking about the armbands and stuff. And
yes,
I mean, I'm saying that the regulation that everybody's quoting is that it says like players' equipment must not contain political slogans, whatever. If that's the case, and that is exactly how it does read. The physios, the sort of management coaching staff that are there. What is to stop them? It's a very, very clever and valid point. That. What I did notice was that, again, when I was putting around pre-match, the BBC had people pitch side. There was Alex Scott was there, and she actually had the armband on herself.
You're right.
So
fair play.
Yeah. So fair play to the BBC. But I don't know whose idea, if that was hers or somebody said to her, put the armband on, and that's good. But fair play for the BBC, if it wasn't their idea, for at least not saying no, take the thing off.
Yeah. We've had a couple of comments on it, not surprisingly, from in the chat. Connor Green says, I understand why an individual player may not want to potentially ruin their World Cup with a booking for it, but some things transcend football. To use their own hostility against them by raising greater awareness through being booked than getting away with wearing the armband in the first place would be remembered in football history for generations. And Glenn Marshall adds, all the nations should have it sewn onto the kits. 8 European clubs would cause chaos. Yeah, I can imagine the referee booking every player in every team before a game. That would be something else. It's I kind of like that idea. I've got to say that Mark Webster came up with it. See no reason why the backroom staff or the physios, as Pinky said, could not wear some kind of emblem indicating their opposition to the local laws in Qatar and what we've seen here.
Yeah, watch out for a FIFA announcement that says something along the lines of this is how we are with the supporters. It's just such a good game that we were giving you like 25 extra minutes of it. And But
Yes, Infantino says, I am extra time.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
yes. Well, that speech extraordinary.
Unbelievable.
You
Unbelievable.
know, sorry, Infantino, but yeah, the continent, people who live on the same continent as me may have been misbehaving 3,000 years ago or whatever it is, but I don't feel the need to apologise for something that somebody who died 3,000 years before I was born was up to.
Oh, I mean, my history isn't great, admittedly, but I was when I read that or saw that speech, I was trying to rack my brains and think, who exactly was he referring to 3,000 years ago? I mean, that the Greeks, maybe. I mean, that was pre-Roman time, wasn't it? I mean,
So, yeah,
surely
the
that was,
Romans, you know, I mean,
Yeah, but the whole speech was a sorry tale of
it was awful, wasn't it?
unbelievable.
yeah, let's call them what they are. Yeah, a mafia-esque organization that is riddled with corruption and underpinned by excessive income from the same old sponsors who, let's not muck around here now. The sponsors have been remarkably silent on some of the more controversial areas of this competition.
Yeah.
And, when you've got, the spectacle of the FIFA offices being raided by the FBI, the FBI raiding FIFA meetings, years ago, and yet still the same old nonsense gets trotted out, whereby there are literally billions of dollars floating around again that relatively unaccountable people can just dole out to buy votes and what have you. It's scandalous, really. It really is shocking.
I mean, this all started really, I mean, way back in, we're talking, well, when they sort of started increasing the number of countries at World Cups, and before Havelange was in charge, who predated Blatter, it was an old-fashioned FA suit called Sir Stanley Rouse, who was president of FIFA, and around 1970-ish, it came up for it was time for his re-election. Havelange went and bought votes from all the African nations, saying, "Vote for me, I'll give you more places at World Cup." And yeah, that's where it all started. Then you got, oh, hang on, Irana through here.
Oh,
he's hit the bar.
oh, you've got to score from there, lad.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, that was a nice through ball.
Yeah, caught out again.
Yeah, I did Pickford just get a touch on that.
I think he did.
Yeah, good save.
Yeah, it's a great save. Well played.
But yeah, then from that, then future elections, you had people turning up with, I mean, Blatt was buying votes for $100,000 a country when he got elected, and it's just gone worse and worse from there. But
which is kind of my point. It isn't a new thing.
yeah,
It's systemic in that entire organization, whereby, because they have this monopoly on this competition, they get away with it. And I just wonder, for how much longer will the big corporations in the world, who, let's name a few names, your AB InBevs, your Coca-Colas, the big multinational corporations, if they were seen to be issuing bribes to win commercial contracts, their senior executives would be sent to prison. The bribery and anti-corruption laws, particularly in America, are quite severe. And yet FIFA, because of where they're domiciled, seem to get away with it, decade after decade. And at what point are the major sponsors going to say, we will no longer be associated with this organization? Football, get yourself a new governing body.
Yeah.
Because, for this World Cup to be awarded to a country with a minuscule population. I mean, you know, your crowd that you do in Benfleet would outnumber the legitimate Qatari population. Yeah, most of the population are migrant workers who are working in terrible conditions. For
We've got a VAR. VAR check for a possible penalty to Iran. So, and referees going over to the screen, which I don't know if that's got the same likelihood of so it's being awarded as it does in the Premier League. We're about to find out, I think. So, have a look.
Now, what was this for? Oh, they're not going to give it for that, surely.
Ball's coming across the box. There's a tug on the shirt there. There is. That's.
oh, where's the sniper? You know.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that there is a tug on the shirt, which, irrespective of where he goes down, is technically a foul. Is that Stone?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean,
Yeah.
if that's given, that's going to set a precedent and a half, isn't it, for the rest of the tournament?
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right. No, it is a shirt pull, but I mean, it's the tiniest of tugs, and it's certainly, as Pinky says, not enough to cause him to go down. I mean, it's been given. So this is.
See, that's where it differs from like a tackle where somebody throws himself to the floor because there's the minuscule contact. The thing with that is that if there's contact from a genuine attempt to play the ball, it has to be enough to make you go down. If, on the other hand, there's a shirt pull, you don't have to get there doesn't have to be any going down at all. It doesn't have to impede you. The fact that there is a shirt pull is enough for there to be a free kick, or in this case, a penalty.
Even Alan Shearer's in the studio over there, yeah, getting ready to deliver his speech on the 800 goals he would have scored for England.
yeah.
Had he had refereeing like that.
Over the bar. I'm going for it. I'm going for him putting it over the bar on this one.
Yeah. Let's have a look. It's just unusual seeing three figures in the clock at the top of the screen as well, isn't it?
103rd minute. We're in the 13th added minute now. So that's, what is that? 37 minutes. No, 27 minutes added on altogether. Incredible.
You know, say what you like about their human rights, but you can't beat them for value.
Slides it in.
Couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of taken the sheen off it a little bit, isn't it? 3-2 in the second half. It's a far more even affair.
Wasn't quite straight down the middle, slightly left of centre from Pickford's point of view, but he'd gone well out the way. So,
Do we have concerns, gentlemen, about England's defensive performance here? I mean, 2 goals conceded. They've hit the bar as well. They broke through the back once or twice. It's not been that great, is it?
I may have mentioned the weakness in the defence as part of my soliloquy at the start of the show. And,
indeed.
But I have to be honest with you. I think this is the price you pay for having one of the midfielders going forward a heck of a lot more, rather than having 2 sitting in front of the defence. And Declan, for 95% of that game, has been super disciplined, particularly the first half. He gave a masterclass in really holding his position. Second half, a couple of loose passes from not just Declan but other England players as well. And it just goes to show, if you give any team in a competition like this the ball in the wrong part of the football field, they can punish you, because, there you go. I would call that a dodgy refereeing decision, that penalty.
Yeah.
But imagine it had been 0-0.
Yeah.
And that's the penalty that means that England go in with their traditional opening group game defeat. Yeah, we'd all be sitting at home livid, wouldn't we?
Yeah. I'd be livid at Stones. It's before VAR, you'd have, probably. He probably got away with it, but as I say, it's a completely different thing from a mistimed tackle or a tackle that, you know, the slightest bit of contact where somebody throws them. The second you pull someone's shirt, it's a foul. Now, these days, VAR is going to pick that up if it gets looked at. So, I don't think the decision was dodgy. It's totally correct. But it was. As I say, it's just one of these things that VAR will now pick up a lot more. I think that's kind of the price for VAR sort of thing. I don't think we really argue about the penalty. But what I do want to see is that next time you see, if there's an England player in the box with with a palpably obvious shirt pull, you want to see those given all the time, just for consistency's sake.
Yeah, well, as I said, I mean, they've created a precedent there, haven't they? I mean, it wasn't a particularly obvious shirt, so certainly not enough to pull the player down.
I see Pinky's point on, the throwing yourself to the floor bit was totally and utterly theatrical. But unfortunately, because it was a shirt pull rather than a light bit of genuine accidental contact, it was irrelevant. The second you pull somebody's shirt, I don't know if he got one, but theoretically, it's a yellow card, actually. It's one of the named sanctionable offences for precaution. So,
okay. Well, it has finished England 6, Iran 2. Comfortable victory for England in their opening group game at the World Cup finals. Group B? It is Group B, isn't it? Later today, the other game in this group will take place at 7 o'clock, USA v Wales. Before then at 4 o'clock, which is, it's about 45 minutes time, gentlemen. Senegal take on the Netherlands. That'll be an interesting game. Never really know what to expect with the Dutch. I think they failed to qualify, didn't they, for the Euros? It'd be interesting to see. And of course, there was some consternation when they left out their first choice goalkeeper from the squad. So that'll be a good one. Let's just have a quick look before we sign off for today at this evening's other fixture in this group. USA v Wales. Pinky, what do you reckon on that one?
Hot dog. I mean, you've got to go with America, haven't you? If for no other reason than they're not Wales. Heavens above. Firstly, well done to Wales. They've qualified for the World Cup. Gareth Bale, all those years he wasn't playing for Real Madrid, he should have loads of energy left to actually do some running around tonight. He could do something special for them. But you have to say, for the Welsh players, terrific for them. But I just fancy the United States might have a bit too much for them tonight. It is, dare I say it, there's an element of the group of death about this, because USA, England, and Wales, the Americans won't want to lose that tonight. That's for certain. That's for absolutely certain. I mean, then you get into the USA against Iran. I mean, that's a whole different ball game there. I'd just like to point out to any American viewers that we've got on here today, when I mentioned the Ayatollah we all follow, is no one in Iran. That was the great Billy Bonds, obviously, and so he'd have been sent off 5 times in that game we watched this afternoon. That's for sure. But now tonight, who knows? I'll tune into it because it's football. It's on the telly, and all the rest of it. And there we see the group table. It's going to be tight there. I think England getting those 6 goals have done themselves a bit of good there, because stranger things have happened with dodgy results in competitions where you can be sit there sweating on goal difference or goals scored. So good for England today. Wales tonight, I think they're going to start the World Cup campaign with a defeat.
Okay. Good stuff. Pinky, thanks for your company. And of course, thank you for holding the fort for the first 20 or 25 minutes today.
It's an impossible task. You know, honestly, you know, at a 10-minute injury break, you could almost see the TV producers going, and to all those amateurs at home, fill the air tight. Good luck, lads. You know.
All right,
No.
all right for you. Yeah. We've done whole matches in the past, haven't we?
Yes, yeah. At least it's something we're fairly knowledgeable about. You know, it's our chosen specialist subjects and all that, isn't it? It's not quite so easy when it's international football for sure. But anyway, thanks, as I say, to Pinky. America, USA versus Wales, KUMB. No, how do you see that one going this evening?
I prefer USA to win just because of the usual sort of inter-United Kingdom rivalry stuff. I don't know. It's a tough one. You never know with America. I mean, they're either going to be, you know, sort of, you know, quite good or terrible. I think America are a team I'd rather be playing sort of kind of at the end of if I were Wales rather than at the beginning. But yeah, because by the time they come up against us in the sort of last group game, it could. I mean, I say it could be all over them, but I can't see Iran beating Wales. I'll be honest. So I think I want USA to win, but I think Wales might shade it myself.
Okay.
Yeah, but well, yeah, so let's see. But
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff. England next up. It's the USA at 7 o'clock this Friday evening. Sure, the pubs and clubs will be full after work on Friday for that one. And then England's final group game, as Noam has just pointed out, on Tuesday, the 29th of November, 8 days from now. That's also a 7 o'clock kickoff. So a good one for TV and anyone tuning in. As we said, it's Senegal versus the Netherlands next, 4 o'clock tonight, USA v Wales. And then we may be back tomorrow. We may be back for an Eyes Up Mother Brown if Alphonse Areola starts for the French against Australia. If not, we'll be back at 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning. Morocco versus Croatia, Naif Aguerd, of course, playing, and that will be followed by Germany, Tilo Kehrer's Germany against Japan at 1 o'clock on
when
Wednesday.
you say a player's Germany or somebody's always sounds like one of those bands that split up years ago and there's one of the remaining band left.
Yes.
And it's so and so. Yeah, it's like
like
Barclay James Harvest, which because you can't use the full name for contractual reasons.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Like he's the only player that matters. Well, I suppose, of course, he is to us to a degree, and we certainly want to don't want to see him injured or anything like that. We want to see him get through unscathed at least. Anyway, so yeah, Aguerd, Morocco coming up. Alphonse Areola's France, and as I said, Tilo Kehrer's Germany. And then who else have we got as our fifth player? It's the Brazilians. When do they play? Brazil play. I can't see. Oh, there we go. Group G, Thursday, 7 o'clock. They play Serbia. That could be a tough game, couldn't it? For Lucas Paqueta in his first game. So there it is. That's it from us today from the Eyes Up Mother Brown World Cup team. We'll be back with you at various points throughout the tournament. Thank you to everyone who joined us for the stream today. And finally, yeah, Glenn Marshall, you can have the final word because you've been with us throughout the stream. It's going for a 2-2 draw, says Glenn tonight. A Gareth Bale double against the Americans. Well, will he be right? We'll find out soon enough. Until then, yeah, enjoy the game. We'll be back with you, as I say, be tomorrow or Wednesday. But keep an eye on the KUMB.forum or KUMB's Twitter or Facebook feed for the latest info on when the next stream will be. Until then, take care, my friends, fellow West Ham fans, and we'll see you again very soon.
Cheers, all.
We can still do one of these. We can still do. Come on, you Irons.
I can't do a thing like Three Lions.
Yeah, that's. We could do the old Ted Rogers.
Yeah.
It was the other way around, wasn't it?
I'm just looking at that backdrop you've got there, by the way, as an aside.
Yeah.
It looks like a cover of a Who album, doesn't it?
A little bit like Tommy.
Yeah.
I think it's part of a stadium. It's supposed to be part of a stadium. But you've lost me. I was thinking Pink Floyd for some reason, with the blue sky in the back.
No, don't go there. Roger Waters has just done a terrible new version of
Oh,
Comfortable.
doing it awful.
Oh,
Yeah. What should we take out of the original version? Let's
What
take
song?
out the guitar solos. Comfortably Numb.
Oh, right. Okay. From the Wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's do a sort of really slow version, and then take out the one thing that elevated that song into the stratosphere, the guitar solos.
Oh, there you go.
It was like the Americans with 40 Towers, when they did 40 Towers. They decided the one character that it could do without was Basil.
That's some call, isn't it? That's some call.
Let's go. I'm supposed to be at work now. I'm going back to work.
Yeah, go on and earn some money.